Hello, Victor Echo 2 Zulu Delta X-Ray. I'm here at the park trying to find some CW, but the bands are empty. You see the antenna in the background. Yeah, so I decided to just record a video. This day I was talking to a friend of mine, Eric, about the differences in amateur radio between North America and South America. And I find more people might find this interesting, so I might as well just record a video, right? But I have to start with a disclaimer. What I'm describing is my experience and the people that I knew down there. They all of them had the same experience with radio, right? Also, North America, I don't actually know how radio is played here. The thing I know is the few people that I know on the radio here, plus the talking to people on the internet, hearing people on the radio, right? That's my picture of radio here. Might not be the real what actually happens, right? And the third is that I'm not comparing, right? I'm not saying that one is better than the other, because at the end it's it's only a hobby, right? You do the hobby right when you're having fun. So let's start. Before, let me give you some context. When I left Brazil, it was 2016. I was an IT professional, and I had something close to a top position, right? And the amount of money that I would put in my pocket monthly after taxes and everything would be about 3K and a half, right? So I had 15 years of experience in IT, and that was the amount I was putting in my pocket. And down there, just like here, IT is a very good profession to have, right? Regarding salary. All right. So why I'm saying you this? I want you to look at these screenshots. And I want you to realize that everything there, like electronics, is insanely expensive. Insanely expensive. And everything that you buy out of the country as well, right? There's the importing taxes are insane as well. So this will help you understand why things happen in a certain way down there. All right. The second thing that I want you to be aware is the geographical position of South America, right? You guys here in North America, maybe you don't realize this, but you were in a very good position when it comes geographically, when it comes to DX, because everything is close to you, right? I mean, Europe is like 5,000 kilometers away. It's kind of neighbor, right? Asia is not that far away, but you can go via the North Pole as well, right? Eastern Russia, it's via the North Pole. Everything's close to you. Maybe you guys don't realize that, but here is a very good position. That's why you guys are able to do some DX using wire antennas. Down there, that's not an option. When we talk antenna there, we say Yagi and above. Wire antenna is not even an option there. When I say to my friends that I'm doing DX here, they commonly ask, where are you deploying your antenna, your Yagi antenna? What do you mean you're doing DX with wire antenna? That's not possible down there, right? Because of the distance. Also, there is one more factor that whenever there is the expedition or a rare station, they're always beaming to North America or Europe, right? Because of the amount of ham radio operators that you have here. So it just makes more sense to be looking for North America and Europe, right? No one looks for South America. It's very rare. All right. So having this in mind, you can understand that most of the ham radio operators there, they have second-hand equipment, old radios, and it's very common as well that the radios they're outputting way less power than they're set to. For example, if you buy a radio that by the specs says it outputs 100 watts, normally when you go to check, since it's an old radio and passed through the hands of many amateur radios over the decades, you're going to see that this radio is actually outputting 30 watts, right? Also, there's a lot of people who modify their CB radios to work on the 10 meters band. That's why you see a lot of South American stations, Brazilian stations on the 10-meter bands, right? That's a common thing. People modifying CB radios, which has the output power close to QRP levels, right? So you start to picture this idea, right? A poor radio, that we don't have homeowners association. Your land is actually yours. You can do whatever you want. So you have pool radios with very good antennas. So Yagi and above, Yagi, cubical quad, multiple elements, delta loop, right? And remember the numbers I said that I would put in my pocket every month? So it's impossible for you to buy an antenna like let's say high gain or this stuff. I mean, there are people who have this, but it's a big commitment for you to buy. On the other hand, most of the people who you talk on the radio, they know how to build antennas, and aluminum is readily available. So you just learn how to build your antennas, right? So that's a common thing there, down there. Old equipment, homemade antennas, awesome antennas. Normally awesome antennas, really. Because you learn very early, and the knowledge that people have there on antenna is not based on the theory. It's actually building the antenna, deploying, doing the DX, and see what you get. It's not based on the book. It's based on what you hear and where you can reach. That's the knowledge on the antennas, right? This leads to another thing. If you talk to someone from South America, you're going to normally learn that they're obsessed with flat SWR. Why that happens? I'm going to tell you my experience. I had a 3-element Yagi on a tower, and I had a 1.7 SWR, and I was having a hard time reaching Eastern Europe, right? It was kind of hard. The Middle East was kind of hard. And then I mentioned this to some of my friends, and they said, why don't you flatten the SWR? And so I did. And magically, Eastern Europe was not a problem anymore. Middle East was not a problem anymore. I started to sometimes reach India, places that I never heard before and I never was able to reach. I started to be able to. This was my experience, was the experience of all of my friends around me, and everyone that I know, that I talk to. That's the experience. Even here, when I gave my radio to Andrew to test the antenna, I showed him one thing that I used it to do with the back there. You see, I use it to sit on a chair, put a fishing rod with the 20 meters and fed half wave. If I put in a certain angle, I would get a certain SWR. If I moved closer or further to me, I would kind of calibrate the SWR. And I would go there at the end of the afternoon. I would hear a bunch of stations from the Middle East, Kuwait, Qatar, and stations like that. I would call them, they would never answer. And then I would change to the position where the SWR was flat. They would answer me right away. So that's the experience. That's what happened down there, what happens here. That's what we have learned, right? Is this the case when you're doing POTA with an end-fed half wave talking locally? Might not be the case. Experience tells me that when you're doing DX, it changes a lot, right? But here, I realized that not many people are aware, or that's not the experience they have, right? But down there, that's the reason why people from South America are normally obsessed with the SWR, because that's the experience that we all had down there, right? Okay, so and it's not based on the theory whatever, because the theory says that SWR doesn't matter, right? But when you go to see it actually on the air and getting the DX, you get something else. It's not actually that. Maybe the process of tuning the SWR, of flattening the SWR, improves other characteristics of the antenna. I don't know, but that's the experience we have. All right. Okay. So, having in mind as well that we have these antennas, the big gun antennas, and as soon as we start on CB, down there at the region I was, there's like a lot of big DXers on CB. When I say big DXers, are people who have a 300 plus DXCC confirmed via QSL cards, right? And remember, to get a QSL on CB, it's not like saying 59, I go to QRZ and get the QSL card. You actually have to exchange the address, right? So there's a lot of people like this down there, people on CB with 300 plus, 250 plus countries confirmed. It's actually very common. So when you start on CB, it's normal for you to get pushed into DX. And when you go on the ham radio, you're going to find the people that are doing DX. It's kind of a normal flow for you to go and DX. VHF digital modes are not big down there. Digital modes, I guess you understand why, right? Price of electronics. VHF, there is a lot of people who do VHF down there, but I would say that the scene is more towards DX, right? So that's the difference how we play radio down there. And let me try to think another difference, good difference. Yeah, clubs. I was saying to Eric. Clubs, they don't formally exist down there. It's not like here that I have a club, that I have a regulation, that you have the members that go into a net. No, down there a club is a group of friends who raise some fund to rent a piece of land on the high grounds. They build a big gun station to do DX. That's what club is, right? Build this, do DX, normally to have a place to have barbecue and meat, to drink some beer, whatever. So that's the clubs. There's no formal clubs like here. Down there, if you mention, would you pay a certain amount monthly to be part of a club? They would say, what do I get from the club? Oh, you're able to participate in a net every week on the VHF band, and have some lectures, access to some lectures. That wouldn't make sense down there. People would never go for that down there, because it's not, that wouldn't work. The thing that would work is, okay, we're going to build a big station so we can go have fun on the weekends. That's what would work normally. All right, not that all the clubs here do that, right? So that's I've seen people when they talk about clubs here, they talk about nets and workshops that they have to share experience. That's not how things are there. You just get a group of people, rent a land, do the DX, and the only exchange of knowledge is DX and CW sometimes as well, right? Because a lot of people there use CW. Oh, CW as well. Here I realized that the majority of the operators who know CW here know to a point of being able to reg tune, right? They do Pota a lot, Soda, and there's a lot of people here who are able to reg too. Down there, when we learn CW, the goal is do DX, right? So we learn how to do the quick exchanges. Normally, we're not many of us down there are able to actually reg too, because that's not the thing that interests us on the CW, right? We learn CW to get more DX, right? Pota Soda down there, it's not a thing. Very few people do these programs down there, and the reason is that it's not safe, right? This ham radio equipment, it's pretty expensive down there, and it's not safe for you to go to a park and to stay there with expensive equipment. So it's not a thing, right? Yeah, and as well, if you go there to a park, you would have to use a wire antenna, and that wire antenna there would do nothing, right? So here you guys can go with a dipole and or an end-fed half-wave to a park and reach the whole North America, which has a lot of people interested in this. Would easily reach the Europe, but down there you wouldn't reach these areas, and you don't have many people interested in these programs down there, right? All right, that would be another difference. Let me see if something else comes to my mind. Yeah, the rest is culture difference. Like I noticed that here, when people are talking on the radio, they like to say, "Oh, I've been a ham radio operator X amount of time, blah blah blah." This in our culture seems snobbish. You know, when you start a conversation like this, it's like you're trying to put a power card into the table just to gain authority, and people don't like that. So if you start a conversation like this with South America, unless he's aware that people in other parts likes to use this as a conversation starter, right? That's why you guys use here. That's how I understand. You guys use this as a conversation starter, but down there it doesn't sound like that. That's a cultural difference, right? All right. Oh yeah, another one. Yeah, a bunch of people use the 10 meters band. It's pretty good for South America because it's easy to build the Yagi, right? Even though if you cannot put a gigantic antenna in your tower, you just build an antenna for 10, 11, 12, right? And the radios are easily modifiable. Then you can use your current equipment or CB equipment to work on the handbands, whatever. So that's the reason why there's a lot of people on the 10 meters band down there. Also about the relation between CB and ham radio. Here I realized that my perception is that a lot of amateur radio operators like to shit talk the CB operators a lot. Down there, that's not the default. Normally we respect because we know them, and the people who do shit talk the CBs, they suddenly learn they shouldn't, right? Because I don't know, let's say you have this ego thing, right, that pushes you to shit talk people on CB, and then you just have a dipole, you don't know much about antenna, you just bought a radio, blah blah blah, and you go there shit talking the CB. The CB operator who you are shit talking might be the one who modified the radio himself, built the antenna himself, and have over 300 divisions. Right, so you gotta be careful when you shit talk the CB radios from there, right? It's not, I don't know how it is here, right? But down there, yeah, it's not that simple. All right. Okay. So let me see what else. Yeah. I think there's not much more stuff here. The things that I learned that I liked here is the Pota and Soda. Although I don't do these programs. Soon I'll be doing a lot of them. But well, the park that I'm able to go to often is not a POTA entity, although I think it's the best park in town for radio. For some reason, it's not a POTA, right? But soon I'll be living close to one. So I love the idea of the POTA and SOTA programs. And I actually think this is the best way for you to use ham radio, because you're using ham radio as an excuse to be outside, right? So I think these programs are awesome, and I like them a lot. I wish they were more popular down there, and they're not. I learned when I was doing a radio down there, I used to only think about DX, and I didn't realize one thing, that the value of the QSO is up to you, right? It doesn't matter if it's a DX on the other side of the planet or if it's your neighbor. It has the same value at the end, right? I learned to appreciate that here, right? Down there I only thought about DX, and here I kind of appreciate reaching the US, even though it's like neighbors. I enjoy getting the QSOs, and I think this is healthy. I think it's healthy. Oh, another difference from what I realized here, you guys know much more about electronics than we do down there. You guys actually understand the theory about behind antennas, the circuits, the tuners, all the electronics that goes into stuff. You guys know how to build antennas. You guys, in general, you understand much more about electronics than we do down there. Down there, when we see electronics and the features of the radio, you guys understand what the features of the radio do much more than we do down there, I think, from my perception. Down there, I remember I did this a lot. I had a radio which had a feature, and someone told me about this feature. My question would be, does it help me get more DX? If yes, then I would be interested in learning and using it. If not, who cares? It doesn't give me more DX. I don't care about it. Right? Yeah, that's another thing. And yeah, let me say something else I could say. Yeah, here the love is in the radio. It's much more on the radio than the antenna. And down there the love is in the antenna, and the radio is just the stuff. Here the radio is the love, the antenna is just the stuff. That's what I have the impression. I don't know if it is. But when I see like I don't know, a flex radio connected to a wire antenna, it's a crime. For me, it's a crime. It still is. I know, because I have a KX2, I have the 705, the FT891. I feel bad when I connect it to this antenna. I do feel bad. I still feel bad. But yeah, so here I understand that I have the impression that you guys value the radio much more than you do the antenna, and down there the value is only on the antenna, the radio is stuff, right? So that's it. Yeah, I think I was all over the place organizing my thoughts, but I have no script. I just was here waiting for the propagation to maybe get better, and I'm able to get some contacts here. So I just decided to record. So that's it. Hope you liked it. 73.